Hi guys, it's me, Kathy, Mrs. HANDYRU. I hope you guys are all doing really well today. And I wanted to remind you that I'm on Telegram if you want to talk to me. And I'm also now on Truth Social along with President Trump. So I hope you enjoy my posts. So anyway, I thought I would talk to you about what Juan was saying on Savin on the recent Psych Club with Tom Numbers episode. And he was talking about the Youngstown, Ohio rally, which was on 9/17. And he was sitting in, so this is the one where there was a American flag and it had the black embroidered stars that was at the rally up behind President Trump. So that was very significant. And I know not all of you have time to listen to Juan or, a lot of other things. So I'm hoping that this will, make a little synopsis of what happened, what he was talking about. So as he was sitting there, it was really funny. As he was sitting there talking to Tom, and I think Right Side Blonde was there. I think she was there. And he was talking to a chicken. So he had Fred the chicken trying to eat his grapes. So everything that Juan has in his picture is significant. So you're supposed to decode about Fred the chicken or Fred, grapes. He also had an onion sitting on a green chair. He also had the back of the inaugural edition of Kid by the Side of the Road magazine showing on the chair. So it was the one with Melania in the mega cubed dress. And I just got, sorry about the focus there. I just got my signed copy from Juan yesterday. And this was what was showing on his green chair. I think you can see it. Yeah. And he wrote mega cubed on the back. And I have a whole decode on this whole thing. I don't know when I'll get to that, but not at the moment. And I can't make the camera stop doing that, you guys. I don't know what's up with the camera. I don't have a switch to flip on it like people said that, you can stop it from changing the autofocus. So I don't have that on this camera. Anyway, I hope you can hear me. Am I close enough? Gosh, you guys. Okay, so I decided to decode everything, especially the things he had out. They were symbolic. The things on the chair and Fred the chicken that kept trying to steal his grapes. I mean, it was all meant something, the name and everything. So Fred is 33, and that equals magic. And MGM, movie studio, movie. And it equals Diane and JW, which is like, he used to call us W for a lot of years on these different shows. So John, W, Joe, right? So I was also wondering, was the chicken there because his brother, now I don't really get it. I think it might have been his brother, John, President Kennedy, that was the chickened out at the cross. I mean, I can be 100% wrong, but that's kind of what I'm wondering. And also that, remember we were talking about before, they all did the murder from Agatha Christie's The Orient Express that Juan brought up. The Orient Express, I should say. So, I think a lot of them were involved in this, the faking of the death at the cross, and also, of course, back at the Garden of Eden. We talked about that already. But Fred the chicken, I said it wrong. Fred the chicken equals 119, and it's great rally. Now, after a rally, President Trump usually would say, oh, it's great rally. It was a great rally, so it's something he says all the time. And it equals, so it begins, big bang of light, like a nuclear thing, solar blast, Star Wars, but also it matches happy ending. So don't freak out. Let's see. Fred eating grapes, I decided to do. Why not? It's 155 and it equals virus event, because I think it will look like a huge, super deadly virus will be around when all this hits the fan. It will be fake, like something like Ebola or worse, where people die immediately kind of thing. Let's see. And 155 is also I told you so. Like he's telling us ahead of time what is likely to look like is real and it won't be. So grapes, he had a bunch of grapes. He was eating them and he was sharing them with Fred, and Fred would come along and try to take them. And like, if you want to see it, look at Psych Club. He put it up, I think it was, I'm not sure, it was on the 20th. And you'll know what it is, which one it is, because you'll see his foot is with his boot, black jeans, black boot, on a green chair. And I think the chicken is in the picture, but maybe not, but at least you'll see that magazine sitting on the chair, so you'll know which one this is. Fred eating grapes, grapes is 66, equals woman, event, lunar, the solar eclipse that I think will happen, and I think it's going to be like the Ring of Fire eclipse, where the moon is, I think we're on the moon, but whatever, that's another story. That the moon goes in front of the sun, and all you see is the Ring of Fire. The sun shows up as kind of like a red light around the moon. So, okay. So lunar matches grapes. Notice, I know I have a weird way of talking. Notice and shoes. Remember, we've been talking about Jackie's shoes and Melania's shoes. And, well, I should say Melania's shoes. And when they're in the high heels, in my opinion, they're Jackie. And when they're in the lower heels, they're Diana. So that's who's been playing Melania. So I don't think it's a coincidence that, grapes at 66 matches notice and shoes. They're two different things, right? Notice is separate from shoes. And blessed matches 66. And they are blessed. Well, they will be blessed when all this reconciliation happens, with the beast event that we're always talking about. Okay, he also had an onion on the green chair. And let me see. I hope I have onion right here. Gosh, I have so many notes. You should have seen me earlier. I was just flipping out with these notes. Where's onion? Yeah, the onion. You probably know if you're on social media and not only watching YouTube. If you're on social media, you'll know that there's an account called The Onion, and it's 60. Well, Onion is 67, but The Onion is a hysterical, fake news site that posts all kinds of funny things, just silly things, and they're very short, and they'll also make fun of politics and everything. So it looks like a legitimate news site, but it's not. So it's basically The Onion is a fake news site, but for fun. So I think that's partly why he had an onion, a great big onion, sitting on his chair. And, he never mentioned onion at all. He mentioned the chicken and the grapes. But onion is 67. It equals evidence, offline, like internet down. Now, I don't know how to even say this. AL and then chemical, like all L or all chemical. And to me, that's like the fake chemical attack or attacks that will look like they're coming. Weekend matches 67 and update matches 67. Now, if you watch Saturday Night Live, I haven't watched it recently or anything like that, but as far as I remember from the old ones, Saturday Night Live had a skit called Weekend Update, and it started with Chevy Chase, way back. and a lot of people did it after him. And it was basically fake news skits. It would talk about like, oh, this is happening and that is happening in the news. And it was all humor. It was all funny. And so Onion matches Weekend and Update. And it's funny. So not real, right? And let's see, what else did I miss? Something. I know I did. Yeah. Oh, and I've been talking anyway about Diana is playing Jennifer Mack. Now maybe Jackie is too, but I haven't gotten that far. But I think, at least one of the Jennifer Macks is Diana. Because Juan is marrying Diana supposedly in March. Maybe they're already married. I think they might be, but I go back and forth on that one. Green, because it was a green chair, is 49, and that's Mr. R, and it equals I am God. I mean, there's no question. There's no question at all. And it equals not just Madrid, Spain, but Madrid. And you just pronounce it differently, same spelling. And Madrid is the name of a huge fault in the center of the United States. I don't think it's like a circle, but it's like a big U shape maybe. So it's a earthquake fault. So, you could see in the news, the fake news, oh, that happened and everybody's, fallen over and everything. All the buildings collapsed in the center of the country, it won't be real. So Madrid. Green chair is Trump, of course, that's 88, and false things, those flags, plural, that matches green chair, which he had his foot on. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I'm kind of going backwards here. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, we also had sitting on the chair a hat, a hat and a mug, a black mug from Jennifer Mack's site. And if you want to look at her site, she has a store and it's called, just look at it. It's a .com, thejennifermack.com, and look at shop and you'll find these things, the hats and the mugs and shirts, everything. Notebooks, stickers. It's Vincent Fusca. I got from her, I got the magazines and her cookbook. She signed the cookbook, you guys. And she has messy writing like me or messy on purpose. I bet you anything. Messy on purpose. Because I'm sure Princess Diana has lovely penmanship. Let's be honest. So I'm so excited. Let's see. So, in case you didn't know, the black embroidered stars on the American flag by President Trump at the Youngstown, Ohio rally, young, like forever young. And I don't know, I didn't see the whole rally. I fell asleep. So I'm going to be honest. I'm going by what I saw in the beginning and what other people have said about the flag. And anyway, Juan said that the black embroidered stars is a warning to the enemy. And if we encounter them, them in kill brackets, that we will take no prisoners. And it means that they can be KILLED. And if you're thinking I'm weird for spelling, it's just because I don't want the channel to get dumped, And if it happens, I'm going to be on Rumble. I have a couple of videos on Rumble, but they're old. So, rumble.com, there's an app. So just download Rumble if you want to look for me. Let's see. And we can take out all enemies with any military assets, like anything. Let's see. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that one. I have way too much information, let's be honest. I always have too much information. And he was talking on, this is, like I said, on Psych Club with Tom Numbers. He'd mentioned that he sent Tom like a decode, I guess, of what all of President Trump's hand signs mean, you know. And Tom, I think he's going to send me that, you know, screenshot or whatever it is that Juan sent him so I can look at it and try to figure out when he's talking what he's saying. So I don't have that right now, but I thought I'd let you know. Oh, the one I do have that he talked about was a fist in front of that flag. And he's saying, I will fight for you. I will protect you. And he's talking about what that flag stands for. You know, our country, our Constitution, our freedom. And he was talking about semaphore, which is flag coding. And let's see. Oh, he said the first flag, in quotes, that President Trump flew, in quotes, I'm doing the quotes, was Melania's outfit on Inauguration Day. And do you remember? I'm sure you do. She was wearing the beautiful Tiffany blue shade. And it turns out that's a shade that Jackie Kennedy made up. I guess that wasn't like something that was a well-known shade, possibly. And she created it for Air Force One because she helped design the colors. So Tiffany blue was what Jackie wore all the way down to her gloves. And Juan said her outfit on that day meant that to everybody that was, you know, evil, because they're all paying attention to everything, meant that we're taking our country back that was stolen. We're taking back what was stolen, period, not even just our country. We're taking back everything that was stolen. And he was talking about communications with flags on ships. And he said, if you're trying to communicate something with a flag on a ship, if the first one, you know, let's say, like he mentioned, the Jolly Roger flag coming up behind someone, well, that means that they're going to attack you. So that's one way of communicating, the bad way. But also in between flags, like you're trying to have another thought come through, you put up a black flag, which I wouldn't have known. I haven't looked at flag comms before. So a black flag is kind of like almost like a dot in between, you know, it separates a thought. So when President Trump left on January 20th, when he left DC and he flew down on Air Force One, he wasn't on a military plane. He was on Air Force One because he was still president when he went down to Florida. And Juan mentioned that it was before the Biden, I was calling the Biden because there's a few, was inaugurated. He was still president. Now, Juan, like I said, Juan mentioned that it was kind of like because Juan wants us to think that it's because it was before the Biden inauguration. Okay. But I think he was still the president of, you know, for the military at least, you know, maybe not for the other stuff, but at least for the military. So I kind of take it that way. So Melania, when she was standing there, I'm pretty sure she had the high heels on, the really tall high heels. So that would have been Jackie. I'm pretty sure. I haven't double checked that one. But Melania was wearing black. And some people thought, well, it could be because it's sad, he's leaving, it's almost like being in mourning. But that was more like, Juan said that's more like a separation of the flags, the communications, because her dresses were always communications. Like on the back of the inauguration edition of the Kid by the Side of the Road that I just showed you, that was a comm. And it meant mega cubed, which is, Juan talks about that, with a Q, you know, not C, mega cubed. Okay. And yeah, because that when they got back to Mar-a-Lago and everybody exited the plane, it was Diana, so I think Jackie got on the plane. Well, Jackie was probably still on the plane, but, Diana is the one that got off looking like Melania and with the big Jackie O kind of sunglasses and the mega cubed long dress. I mean, there's so many comms in that dress. But she had the low heels on when she was leaving the plane or the jet, whatever. You know what I mean. Okay. Yeah. So he was saying that, oh yeah, the dress that she was wearing when she left that I just showed you earlier, it was dark to light. So it started dark at the top of the dress and it went to light. And it was a bunch of cubes. Every way you looked at it, it was cubes. And he mentioned again what he's talked about before. E equals MAGA cubed over C corn. And that's the corn from the CIA, the farm, as we call it, where they get trained to be bad and do bad things. And he said that if you're talking in public, if you want to talk about these kind of people, he said you could talk about them like in Israel, they export flowers. So here we export mostly corn, or produce maybe mostly corn. I'm not sure which way he meant it. But in Israel, I guess their biggest crop is flowers. And, so if you want to talk about their bad guys in in those different groups in the government, you'd say something about the flowers. Anyway. So Juan said the covert language is not lost on the enemies worldwide. They're paying attention to everything that's happening. And he said all agencies watch the signaling from President Trump. And then Juan said doing some harvesting. And he was outside. There was grass and trees and everything. And so some piece of equipment went nearby and made noise. And he said, oh, doing some harvesting. And I can't decode everything. So if you want to decode that, put it in the comments, because I'd love to see your comments. You know that. You guys know that. I read them all. But doing some harvesting to me is literal. Okay, think about that. Doing some harvesting. And he said, should we be attacked, there will be an immediate response. And let's see. And he was talking about Dr. Strangelove. I didn't decode that, and I haven't watched that. I don't think I've ever watched that. I've only watched clips of it. And that's with Peter Sellers, who played Clouseau. And we've got the Clouseau video, so it's kind of like a little circle coming back to the Pink Panther. Clouseau videos with all the people on it that are not dead. And let's see. And he talked about how Congress certified before they verified the results. And they didn't have, I'm sure you remember all this, but they didn't have the information from DNI Ratcliffe, which I think was all planned, honestly. I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was all supposed to happen this way because it had to be shown that all these guys were corrupt and you just can't trust them. All the other groups. So Ratcliffe, I think, was in on it to help us. And I think all the other groups were just, stonewalling. So that's the way I'm looking at it right now. And he said something about you have to bomb their bombs. You have to bomb, talking about nukes. You have to bomb their bombs so they don't have time to come back and get yours. So if you don't get rid of theirs, they can actually get yours, and then you don't have anything. So he's kind of making it sound really intense, right? I don't think it's going to get like that, but you know that, right? The nuclear stuff will be fake and all that kind of thing. The chemical attacks will be fake. And that's from Decoding President Trump and Juan. So, it's not like Joe Blow I'm decoding. Let's see. And he talked about how President Trump on March 15th went to Cheyenne Mountain, didn't know if the virus was like an attack on us or the world. So he shut Cheyenne Mountain down like a drum, as Juan says. I didn't decode that, but and he talked about let's see. He said Strategic Air Command during joint exercises had mistakenly let out a code. No, I don't think so. It was not mistaken. Supposedly somebody had left their phone out where one of their kids could get at the phone, and they just punched a bunch of numbers in. And that's what Stratcom said was the reason that these codes, the numbers went out, numbers and letters. But everybody was decoding it, and because it wasn't a mistake, they were locked down. There was nobody out, at their home with a kid that could try to punch numbers in accidentally. They were in there, and they're still in there. These people are still in Cheyenne Mountain. And Juan said they can only get out one at a time through some tiny little area. So, hi, you guys, if you can see me. I'm so sorry you have to be locked down, but, it's all for a good cause, right? I mean, this is serious. It's taken the world back, not just our country. So, thank you. So, anyway, everybody was decoding this message that came out, and the decoding sites, people that are posting, I think, on decoding sites, that code came up with Q. Well, I'm just going to say these things. Q acquitted, and Q is the nuclear level. I don't even know what you call it, but people like Juan, President Trump, and all these people, they're at Q clearance. That's it. Clearance is what the word I was trying to think of. Q clearance is nuclear clearance. So, and then there was another odd message that they got, and this is what it said when it was decoded. Well, maybe it wasn't even in code. That part, I'm not sure. Well, it meant whatever. It said, if a force is about to be overrun, this is what he said, Juan said, if a force is about to be overrun by overwhelming numbers, and use of conventional if use of conventional weapons would be overrun, use of nuclear tactical weapons will be authorized. In other words, they have the clearance to just do whatever needs to be done. To me, I think it's scare tactics you remember in our favorite Anon, as I'm always saying, I'm just going to say Q postings, scare event necessary. Scare, right? That's what we're talking about. Oh, well, along with a lot of other things like, chemical weapons and everything. Let's see. Yeah, and he talked about when Russia went to Ukraine, they only went to weapon producing kind of areas or chemical weapon, whatever the cabal was doing. That's the areas they went to. And he said, I don't know if this is true or not, or if this is double talk, but, to me, it's probably double talk, like to think opposite, like think mirror, that Zelensky tried to have his own reactor go down and to melt down, but Russia stopped it. I don't really think that happened. I really don't. They're all in the gold treaty, and they all know if they were in the gold treaty that everything would be taken away from them if they did anything bad like that. So I really don't think they did it. I think this is just, how disinfo is necessary. I mean, even from Juan, right? Okay, so at one point, we have the right, Juan says, we have the right to use military force on our own land. We're not worried about war crime accusations against us. And there's enough evidence to prove that, if there was a war crime accusation, that we would have enough evidence to say, no, we have justification to do whatever it was. So he said that. Where did he say? Okay. And he's talked about hundreds and hundreds of billions, not millions, billions, have been spent on Gitmo. And recently, prefab walls were sent in to build 2 more courtrooms. Said by October 15th, the courtrooms will be ready to go. Now that's over 2 weeks from now. Okay. So he said, at that point, Juan said, this is going hot. Okay, that sounds intense, right? I don't know. I don't think so. It's going to look like it. I don't think it will be real. But that's me. That's my opinion, right? I have an opinion. And I learned from Strider Raven and by the book to decode by phrases. Now, sometimes I do a whole sentence, but more often I use phrasing. Okay, so this is going hot, right? So this is part of the phrase. This is equals 84, and rod of God, which is what we keep hearing about with the big strikes coming down, supposedly from the military, but I don't know. Rod of God, calamity. It's real. Blasting. Delta Dawn. Remember that old song? Delta Dawn. What's that flower? Whatever. Anyway, Delta Dawn, like Delta for, Q deltas, and something happening at dawn, maybe. Okay. Another match to 84 is the wave. It's so funny. All these things that people do, like the wave at sports events. I think that was all invented so it would get into gematria decoding, and everybody would say, oh yeah, that's an 84. And it matches calamity, Anyway, Vietnam, Iran war, deep breath. One's always saying, take a deep breath, right? Fake news, a phony, reconcile, and Q is always saying, reconcile. Okay, you hear this is happening, reconcile, figure out what's going on. And then another one that matched 84 is a few days. So I'm not sure. Is this a few days or a few weeks? I don't know. Okay, going hot was the second half of the phrase. That's 95 equals it's time. Scorpio. Now I'm a Scorpio, but I never pay any attention to things like that myself. And maybe I should. Anyway, Scorpio's dates are 10/23 through 11/21. So does that mean, Scorpio's 95 and it equals going hot? Is that significant or not? October 23rd through 11/21. 11/22 was the date of President Kennedy taking himself out of the scene. Maybe that's when, everything could happen, and maybe then we see them, or at least President Kennedy. I don't know. The last couple of videos I kept saying, oh, I don't know what year. I kind of think it's this year. I reserve the right to be wrong. Okay? I do. I've been wrong before. I can be wrong again. Okay. Going hot at 95 also equals excuse me. Now, Juan yells that a lot during his talks and interview, if you want to call it. And think about Steve Martin. He would always say on Saturday Night Live in his skit, he'd say, excuse me. And I think he's one of the Bidens. I do. And so could be another way of looking at excuse me with Steve. Jim Jones. Now we got Jim Jones matches, and that's two J's like two Johns. You know, instead of looking at it as John, you can look at it as two Johns, which we talk about. You know, John Jr. and John Sr. And remember, John Jr. is Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. reincarnated. So that's also a J, Joseph. Okay, and Jim Jones was a cult leader, and unless this was all fake, I don't know, but it was years and years ago, and that's where the term "don't drink the Kool-Aid" comes from, and I don't even know if they really drank Kool-Aid or what, but maybe they drank Kool-Aid, they drank something, and it had poison in it, and supposedly they all knew it, and they all wanted to exit at the same time, so all these people died. Unless it's fake. I don't know. But just saying Jim Jones makes me think of poison, because I think I've said many times that it's going to look like our food supply and water, all kinds of things will be poisoned or, maybe affected by nuclear fallout. Who knows? But I think it's also likely going to look like terrorist attacks all at the same time. And that could be blamed on them. Who knows? Okay, and yeah, so we have Jim Jones and we have supper. It makes me think of food poisoned again. War machine matches, going hot. Sirius, like SIRIUS, and Sirius XM is a satellite. Satellite radio. So it could be talking about, the EAS that everybody's waiting for and all that kind of thing. Emergency matches, 95, going hot, for going hot. Disaster, roll tide for the fake tsunami flooding. Victims, because it will look really intense, you guys. It would be like, you'll see like dead people, I think, on the screen and all kinds of bad stuff. Probably from like I said recently, from old events that happened. Gosh, I'm sorry about the camera. Let's see. Live webcam, like looking at everything supposedly happening live from this city or that city. Faked signs, not at all. And then listen to this, actually matches, going hot. And then it is finished is 95. So is everything, like we're waiting for all these arrests, is everything like that like really done? Like possibly we've all been waiting for these alerts to see all these arrests and everything. What if it's really already done and it's just on the down low? Whatever, I don't know. So it is finished, and be not afraid. I mean, how many times was that in the Bible? Be not afraid. I don't know, but it's a lot. Sorry about the noise. I'm always making paper noise. Let's see. I don't think I need to read all this. Yeah, I think I got that part. I am the noisiest channel out there, don't you think? He talked about Elijah, and he talked about it as if he was there, because I think at some point he was Elijah, right? He's been all kinds of people. He's been Michelangelo, Van Gogh. I mean, I've got videos on that too. He's just been everybody. I'm sure he was a philosopher. Like everybody. He's been like everybody. And I'm sure his brother, President Kennedy, was all different people like that too. So I won't go into all that because it's taken too long. But talked about near the end, he talked about President Trump being a matador. And he had a lot of analogies to bullfighting. get these papers straightened out. I'm sorry. It's just a lot. He said, brace yourselves. The show is in the last act. Now, that's one of the most important things he said in this one, I think. And let's see. He said in the third round, third round, you have 10 minutes as a matador with the bull in the ring. You have 10 minutes to try to, you have 10 minutes and then a horn will sound and then you have 5 minutes. And at the fifth, when it says that's really it with the matador. So these picadors, I don't even know how to spell that, but picadors go in ahead of the matador and they get the bull so it's wounded. I mean, I don't even like talking about it, but they wound the bull. The bull's head is down, and what the matador is waiting for is to get the shoulders down. Well, I think the shoulders go down, and then he comes in and stabs it up at the top of the shoulder blades, down through the heart. And this is really morbid to talk about, but anyway. So he's taunting the bull to charge, because that's part of the show, right? You want the bull to charge. You want the supposed bad guys that are left. Maybe there's not a lot left, just a thought. But to charge, and then you get them at the end. Let's see. So he said, just like President Trump is a matador, he said that they will charge, and he'll definitely move aside and get them. That's what he was saying. And this is so important. He said, you are us. You guys are in the greatest moment in American history ever. Ever. Washington, Delaware, no. Not crossing the Delaware, no. Civil War, no. You are in the greatest moment in American history ever, you guys. So just put that in your pipe and smoke it. I mean, when this all comes out, you guys, I'm so proud of you for sticking with your gun. Sticking with everything. I won't say that word. And he said, near the end, he says, slaves know effing more. I don't like saying that, and he said it wasn't a gratuitous thing to say. He meant it. There you go, folks. We'll talk to you again soon. That's how he ended. Well, in there, he said, I didn't even tell you, but he said, brace yourselves. Okay? Right before he talked about the greatest moment in American history. Brace yourselves. It equals 190, and it equals the voice of the Lord. That's who we're listening to. Proof I'm God himself. I mean, this is so big. You remember we talk about Ray Kacha? It always comes up if you're doing gematria decoding, and it equals Raymond Edward Kacha, Koceja. Now Kacha, I think it's I can't think right now, but it's Croatian. Somebody left a comment. I don't know if it's an angel anon or what, but left a comment months and months ago that said that Kacha is, because I didn't know how to pronounce it. I was always saying it wrong. And they told me how to say it. And once I realized how you say it, it's like caught, Caught, and then YA, right? Like caught ya, I caught ya. Okay. So another match for brace yourselves 190 is the Creator born man. And let's see, Raymond Unequaled. Now, I've just been thinking a day or so ago, who's the top? I don't know. Maybe they're all equal. I'm not sure. But who is the top god, right? And I've been wondering who that is. And if I'm going along with what this decode said, it sounds like our Juan is our JFK Jr., who was Joe. Then Joe was reincarnated into JFK Jr. Raymond Unequaled. I've never seen one like that. I feel like this was put there so I could figure it out. And yes is the answer, right? So Raymond is unequaled, and yes is the answer. It's me. True gods, plural, on earth. The Kennedys are here. All these are 190. Master of Disguise. That was a movie, right? But that was all planned. And God's Holy Twins. And a woman with red hair. Remember, he played, what's her name? Jen, which is a Jennifer. Saki, P, silent P, Saki. And she had the red hair, the high forehead. Gee, do I have a high forehead? I might have a high forehead. And everybody would tease about that. And anyway, so he played her, the White House spokeswoman. So yeah, a woman with red hair. And giant red wave coming matches, and faulty fear tactics. All that is 190. So that's that. I don't know how long I've been talking. Gosh. So let's see. Oh, I have more on It's Going Hot. Oh, I didn't even remember I wrote this. Yeah, well, I got the gist of it out. That's good enough. Okay, now we've got Q News Patriot channel on Rumble, and that's SG Anon. Now, I haven't been listening to him, but I know Janine mentioned him, and I think I mentioned already that she thought he was legit. So a friend of mine, Betsy, thank you, Betsy, she sent it to me, and I think it's like the 11th or 12th post video that he's put out, and you don't see him. It's just an audio. But he's very relaxing to listen to. So if you're uptight, listen to SG Anon. Not like me. So he talked about the Pennsylvania rally, the same one with the black stars. But the way he was looking at it was that, he looked at it as it was a declaration of war, the same as Juan said. Now, SG Anon came out before Juan did. He came out the Sunday after the rally. So he came out a little sooner. He's talking about open comms, but he brought up something interesting. He said that President Putin put out, now I didn't see it, so I'm going by what SG Anon said. So if I'm wrong, if he's wrong, I'm wrong. He said that President Putin put out a video, sounds like to social media and other medias, where he was either at a bird preserve of some kind, or maybe it was a place that trained birds of prey, and there was a young girl with him, and she said about a falcon, which is a key thing, with us falcons. Oh, who Junior played him too? I can't think of the name, but it's like a short movie that was put out, and he was embedded with the CIA supposedly, and he was getting people like in Saudi Arabia that were doing things with falcons illegal. I can't think of the name. Had a lot of double letters in it. I remember that. But the point is that President Putin said, she said to President Putin, can we name the falcon Storm? And he stopped for a minute and he said, yeah, we have a special forces or special operation going on. I think he called it, the group was called the Storm. And they're working in Donbass, Ukraine. And SG Anon said, oh, nobody ever tells what's going on. Even if you have got something going on, you don't tell it. And that totally makes sense, right? You don't show your hand with what kind of ops are going on. So to him, it meant, everything is coming out in the open. And he also said that there was President Trump had, I guess you call it re-truthed on Truth Social. Like, instead of saying posting, you say re-truth. And it was a picture of him. Now, I don't know if it was a meme somebody had up, but it was a picture of him with a Q pin on his lapel. And but whatever it was, whether it was a real photo or if it was a meme, he posted it on his Truth Social account. So that was a while back. I haven't looked for it, but I'm going by what SG Anon said. So to him, everything's coming out in the open. So that's why I was thinking, okay, so maybe we're not talking about a Delta next year, because I'm always wondering about dates. This year, I don't know. I hate to say that. And he talked about, SG Anon said he looked on Tor browser, I think it means torrent, if I remember right, and looked at special ops comms from, I don't even know, a 486 unit maybe, and I was trying to write so fast when he was talking. And they deal with FEMA and domestic terrorism. They're a group that they just come in immediately and they deal with something bad. And he said it started, to me, it sounded, because I'm going by when he posted it on Sunday, and now I think it's Wednesday. So I think it was around 1.5 weeks ago that they started communicating. Now, I didn't even understand who they were communicating with, but he said it was important, so I thought I'd let you know. And they're out of Eglin Air Force Base. So that's that. And he's on Rumble, in case you're looking for him. I posted it on my Telegram today, so if you're looking for it and you can't find it, look on my Telegram, and that's Real Mrs. HANDYRU. And on Truth Social, I'm only Mrs. HANDYRU. I don't know if I should get into okay, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but there was a Juan Savin interview on Psych Club, and it was before the one I just talked about, but what the point that I got out of it was he talked about atomic a lot. He was talking about subatomic matter and the real math and things like that. 19.5 is part of the what he calls the real math, and that's why the Cabal uses it. He talked about you're blocking photons from one body to another, and you talked about an eclipse, and I was talking about there'll be an eclipse, and it won't be scheduled, and it will freak everybody out totally. I mean, I highlighted all through here how many times he said eclipse. I don't know how many, but it was a lot. Let's see, atomic, I should say, he said a lot. Eclipse was more like a couple of times. He talked about he didn't say subatomic in this one. He said submatter and level. It's this sea that we're immersed in. And he was talking about all this subatomic matter that you can't even look, you can't see with your eyes. But the double meaning to me was sea, S-E-A, which talks about the beast event. Also, it certainly seems like above the dome, likely there's water, and we're protected underneath it. He mentioned waterlogged again, which can also mean the fake tsunami, and what I just mentioned. So that's mostly what he was talking about in that one. I don't want to go on and on. And but he did say, he brought up, I'm sorry, he didn't say this part. It made me think of Watch the Water, because there's so many water references. So I did watch the water in a couple of different ways, and that's 155, the whole phrase from our favorite Anon. And it equals, let's see, grand solar flash and which is at the top of the, I think you call it the, do you call it the Q map? Or no, you call it the Great Awakening map. And if you haven't seen it, just put that in your search engine and under images and you'll see it. There's probably a couple of different versions. And at the top of the map, where it talks about, it's like everything connected to each other, the cabal and how it all goes through, and the CIA and everything. At the very top in big print, it says Grand Solar Flash. So, okay, that's 155, which I just happened to do, right? But I don't think it was a coincidence. I decided to do this for Watch the Water. And another match to 155 is and felt during, Oh, I'm sorry. No, that wasn't a match. Oh, I got that wrong. I just realized I said it wrong. So Juan continued and he said, and felt during celestial events. His point was felt, like the big earthquake and all that. Let's see. He was talking about, let's see. He said their gods honor certain times and dates and seasons, the bad ones. And they honor, the bad ones, honor what they do, in kill brackets, and actual physical power, and I think is Diana 29, power associated with certain dates. I took down everything, and that's why it takes so long to get through these things. But to me, when he said that, his point was that we have physical power with our gods too, and it's associated with certain dates, times, and seasons. And like at the very end, I was just saying, he said, and felt during celestial events, like the eclipse. And I think everybody will be praying at that point. I've said this before, everybody will be praying and they'll be like, oh, what is going on? It doesn't matter what religion. Everybody will be praying for help. And that's when we have power. I think that's what that means. That's when we have power. Look, I wasn't even moving my hands and that thing went out of focus. I don't know. I don't know how much longer I should go. Yeah. Okay. So I looked up October 28th because that's the 5th anniversary of our first Q post. And let's see. So October 28th is 242, and that equals December 26th, okay? SIXTH. And fall of the United States. Remember I said that it's going to look like we submit, capitulate, put up the white flag up the pole, the whole thing, and it will be fake. And also remember the Waltons decode I did a bit ago about that movie, the Christmas movie, The Homecoming. And the narrator starts out and he says, a Christmas Eve that would change their lives forever. And I mean, he said more than that, but that was the gist of it. And I did a little decode on General Washington in Trenton, New Jersey. And he started out on Christmas Eve about 11 p.m. And then about 8 a.m. on Christmas, was it Christmas? No, it was the 26th. I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But somebody say it in the comments. I don't know. I can't. I'm having a brain cramp here. So anyway, so at 8 a.m. that day, whichever day it was, they started the attack on Trenton, and then they won. And they had all these, captives when they left. But that time period between when he started out and, what was it? 1-3. Okay, so it started out on 12/25, 1776, and it ended on 1/3, 3, 1777. And that is called, when people talk about it now, looking back on it, they call that the 10 crucial days. And anyway, 10 crucial days. Okay. I'm getting all confused. My notes are so squirrely. So, okay, I got it. 242 was December 26th. So I'm decoding. I'm going back. You guys, I don't know why you watch me get this all messed up. So I'm working on October 28th because that's when our first post was. 242 matches December 26th. And more 242s is they spied on my campaign. So how many times has President Trump said that? Lots and lots of times. It matches December 26th, right? And it says another match is not when you expected. And Ukraine, Russia risk matches. And fall of the United States, like I just said, I'm just emphasizing matches December 26th. So don't worry. Your relatives will be all freaked out. I'll probably be freaked out too. Just because I know other people are upset, not because I'm going to worry about it, but it's a stressful thing just to know the world is going to be all so upset. And in the Bible, it's like men's hearts will fail them. I think that's what John is talking about. Men's hearts will fail them. Like, they can't take it. But you guys won't be one of the ones, okay? Just know that. 10 crucial days is 155, and that equals the code of gematria. Okay, and then I went off the deep end, but I think it's important. It equals Mighty Mouse. Remember that cartoon with Mighty Mouse? Mighty Mouse is on the way, and he's flying with his little cape and everything. Well, it reminded me of Peter Sellers' movie, who was Clouseau. This is like another circle again. He was Inspector Clouseau in all those Pink Panther movies, and we've got Clouseau with the people who aren't dead and all that. And it's not a coincidence they picked Clouseau for that channel. That's a white hat channel. That's not just Joe Blow doing that channel called Clouseau 1S. Anyway, Peter Sellers was in lots of movies that had very important themes and comms in it. And one is called The Mouse That Roared. Okay, so Mighty Mouse matched 10 Crucial Days. And it made me think of The Mouse That Roared, in case you're not following my weird train of thought. It's about, so I looked up the plot because I wasn't sure if I remembered it correctly. It's about a tiny imaginary country in Europe. And it was first written as a 6-part serial starting on Christmas 12/25, 1954. Okay, and 54 is a 9, most high number. But the serial started on Christmas that year. And it continued, and they didn't say the day or anything, but they said January 1955, and 55 is JFK Jr. And lots of other things, but And this story, which became a movie, was written by Leonard Wibberley. Leonard Wibberley, under the title, when it was in the magazine, I think it was Saturday Evening Post. Maybe it'll happen on a Saturday. Under the title, The Day New York Was Invaded, which could be a double meaning for aliens and who knows. But the imaginary country declared war on the United States. Okay? hoping to lose. They wanted money, I think, like to get bought off, that they wouldn't continue this ridiculous plot, but they were kind of bankrupt, this little country, and I don't remember the name of the country. I'm sure that's important. I don't know. So they were hoping to lose, but things didn't go as planned. So this little country attacked the United States and they won. Okay, remember we were talking about the United States will look like they give up. And that's kind of what this plot of The Mouse That Roared, right? That's what I'm working on. And it all came from 10 Crucial Days, 155, and Mighty Mouse. So that's where I got all that. So Leonard, the first name of this supposed white hat, let's just admit it, wrote it, equals ho, 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 like Santa Claus, our jolly old Saint Nick. And old Nick is a nickname for Satan. And all you have to do is reverse the letters on Santa Claus and you get Satan, Okay, Leonard is 69. It's ho, ho, ho. Mayday, like, okay, it hit the fan. Camelot and We Are Q matches. And Wibberley, it just cracks me up. Wibberley is 170 and it equals, are you ready? 170 equals World War III, spelled out, THREE, okay? And it equals, and then suddenly, and it equaled financial crash now. I don't know when, but I would think when it looks like World War III happens, I think before that it will crash, but it's interesting that matches. That's all I'm saying. And it equals The Fat Lady Sings, which matched, I think it was, wasn't it Melania and Jackie no, wait, I'm sorry. I take it back. It matches Diana and Jackie are Melania, matches The Fat Lady Sings. We were just talking about that last video. There's an ant crawling on my wall and it is so distracting. I'm like, stinking ant. Yeah, but I won't get up. And remember President Trump says, what is happening a lot? And that equals 170. So, and I clean up the mess, he says. So it certainly looks to me like it's going to look like we give up. I've gotten that a lot of times. The Mouse That Roared. Now, I was working on the Saturday Evening Post title about the day New York was attacked, but the title of the movie that it became is 216. And let's see what happens. And President Trump says that all the time. And it equals, I will shake the heavens, harbinger of apocalypse, begin apocalypse event, which to me it's like the news revealing that, we give up. Sorry about the train. There's always something going on here. I got an ant, I got the train, I got noise with the microphone. Let's see. No concept of reality, because nobody will get it. They won't understand. It's not real. What is a FF event? Fill in the blank. What is a false FLAG event? And Tom has been saying something really interesting. He was on with Jason Q, and they had a great talk. I mean, it was back and forth. It was not really an interview. They were both just like feeding off each other. And Tom was saying near the end of the interview that he thinks it's going to be like at some point, now I don't have any idea when, but things that have been destroyed will come back. Like The Matrix. I can't remember what was the other movie. There was another movie he mentioned. And it will be like like the World Trade Center's gone, right? The two Twin Towers are gone, but at some point it will be like they reappear somehow. It will just be, and the one, what is it called? What is that called? Yeah, Freedom Tower. You know, the one that they put up that's like, as one would say, the penis, you know, with the point and everything. So the Freedom Tower is what's up there now. And the two footprints of the World Trade Center are empty. Well, not empty. They've got the fountain or waterfall or something like that in the two squares. And they look black. And in case you didn't know, the Saturnalias, those bad guys that worship Satan, that's what Saturnalia is. They like to put black cubes all around the world, like a black cube up on a pedestal, up on an angle. So it'll be kind of like, you know. And I don't know what they're trying to say it is in public. I don't know. But what Juan has said in the past and what I've looked up is that those black cubes are part of what they worship. And so anyway, the two footprints of the World Trade Center that are gone are representing black cubes. So when you look down in there, and you have to, when you're there, you have to look down at it. They're black. They look completely black, and they go down deep. So basically, that footprint is a black cube. So Tom thinks that will still be standing, and the World Trade Center will somehow appear. And I think that would be so exciting. I mean, can you imagine? And that's why, I mean, I've been saying that I think the people that are gone, people that died there, people that we've lost and things like that, I think everybody's coming back. I mean, if the buildings come back, why not the people? Like, that's his theory. I mean, his theory is about the building. My theory is about the people too. Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited. Oh, and I'm sorry, I just saw something I missed. The day New York was attacked was what the story was called in the Saturday Evening Post, and that's 282. And it equals, if you can't beat them, join them, which means surrender, right? And let's see, and it matches in military preparations, it matches, and then you mock and taunt me. Like after the other person wins, you're made fun of, right? So we'll look like we lost. And a city surrounded by the sea. So so we're working on the day New York was attacked at 282. Then it matches a city surrounded by the sea. Does it look like New York is like, you know, like the biggest boom, right? And it looks like, I don't know, maybe it looks like it falls down in on itself. I don't know. But it won't be real, you guys. I just know it. I mean, they're not going to tell us all this stuff ahead of time and then let all these things happen. You know that. So anyway, thanks you guys for listening. And thanks for any donations you give. I do appreciate it. Like 199%. I mean, so much. Mr. Handy and I do appreciate it. And I do work hard. It's not full time, but I do work hard. And anyway, but remember, I'm on Telegram as Real Mrs. HandyRU. And it's also, I forgot to tell you earlier, Mrs. HandyRU Chit Chat. So you can post things there and talk to each other. And also I'm on Truth Social, like I said, and I'm just plain old Mrs. HandyRU. And guess what? I don't think I told you this. I'm going to be in the Boston stop on the Truth Tour. And the only reason I'm going to be able to do it is because Tom said that he would give me part of his time for when he does his speech in Boston. And so he told me he wants me to do part of it. And that's really an honor And I thank Tom greatly. It's so exciting. And I haven't talked in front of people like that before, especially a large group. I mean, I used to sell Tupperware, 30 years ago. And I would talk to groups of people or in front of, we called them rallies too, Tupperware rallies when we had meetings and stuff. Not the Tupperware parties, but when we had a meeting. It's funny, we called them rallies. And anyway, I mean, I could talk in front of those people, but I really knew those people. So it should be interesting how it goes, right? So if anybody has some advice, let me know in the comments. And if you know how to talk in front of crowds, I would appreciate it. And anyway, I love you guys. Take care of each other. I will talk to you soon. Bye.